welcome to today's session. Here we are looking at Verbal Ability Class Assignment 1 Concept Class. Now please remember you will be able to answer most of the common error questions provided you're clear with the concept of subject-verb agreement, right? Even if you don't look at other topics of grammar, but you're able to master this entire topic of subject-verb agreement, you will be able to maximize your score when you talk about verbal ability grammar portion, all right? So through the course of this entire concept class today, we will try to look at all the important rules that you need to know, okay? So pay attention, and wherever you may have a doubt, you need to pause that particular moment and make sure that you get back to us with your queries, all right? So do keep this in mind. Make sure that you clarify your concepts because there are very important rules that are coming up, okay? Let's just quickly get started. Now, please remember, whenever we speak a sentence in English, a sentence is a complete sentence, right? Grammatically correct sentence if it is having a subject and a verb, a subject and a verb. And usually in a sentence in English, we've got subject-verb agreement, all right? We've got subject-verb and object, all right? Now, when I talk about the subject is nothing but the doer of the action, someone who's performing the action. Verb is the action that gets performed, and object is the receiver of the option. The receiver of the action. Now, many a times I use this example. We can take any example that I like you, right? So I is a subject here. When I talk about like is a verb here, and you is the receiver of the action, that's the object, all right? So a sentence in English, to make complete sense, must have a subject, verb, and object, okay? Now, please remember, there's a very basic rule. The number of the subject, that means is the subject singular or plural, right? Depending upon this, you will elect whether your verb should be singular or plural, okay? Please remember this. Based on your subject, you need to first know your subject, the doer of the action. Is your subject singular or plural? If the subject is singular, the verb will be singular. If the subject is plural, the verb will be plural. Please remember. And this concept is called subject-verb agreement. So whenever we talk about the number of the subject, by this line I mean, is the subject singular or is the subject plural? On the same basis, I decide the number of my verb, okay? Please remember, this is subject-verb agreement, all right? So keep this in mind. This is the only basic rule. If verb is, when we talk about the subject, if the subject is singular, the verb must be singular. And if the subject is plural, the verb must be plural. All right, so this is the basic concept that you need to keep in mind. If the subject is singular, then the verb must be singular. If the subject is plural, then the verb must be plural. All right, now the very first important step that I often see students going wrong in, all right, what is that step? That step is many a times we are not able to figure out how to identify singular subject, singular verb. Subjects, I think still we are able to do it to a certain degree, even though we'll clarify in this class. But please remember, with verbs, we often go wrong. So there are some steps that you need to remember, which are very important. The first thing is know how to identify. You need to know how to identify singular subjects, singular verbs, plural subjects and plural verbs. You need to know how to identify this. This is important, okay? Now, when I talk about singular subjects, all right, when I talk about singular subjects are I, you, he, she, Sai, Nirja, the girl, the boy. These are all singular. These are all singular subjects. And with these singular subjects, you will be using singular verbs. You'll be using singular verbs like am, is, was, has. But remember, when I talk about does and goes are singular verbs. Does and goes are singular verbs, all right? Whenever I have a verb plus s, that's a singular verb. So write plus s, that's a singular verb. Drink plus s, that's a singular verb. Read plus s, that's a singular verb. He reads, she reads, Sai reads, the girl reads. We'll never say the girl read. No, right? We'll never say that. We'll say they read, right? So please remember, this is very important. We often make this mistake. Whenever there is verb plus s, that's a singular verb. Verb plus s, that's a singular verb. If you have any doubts here, let me know. This is important. Please keep this in mind. When you talk about plural subjects, all right, when you talk about plural subjects, we have we, you, they, the boys, the girls, Nirja and Preeti. These are all plural subjects. And with these plural subjects, you will use plural verbs like are, were, have, do, write, drink, read. So, can you see that singular verbs are having s with them, but plural verbs are not having s with them? Do remember this, okay? This becomes important, all right? So, noun plus s is a plural noun, but verb plus s or es or ies is a singular verb, is a singular verb.